up? I'm Jared.
I'm Kate.
So, this week, to get us started, I'm really hoping there's something that Kate hasn't seen on the interwebs.
And while he's looking that up, I want to acknowledge the fact that we know it's been a while. Some people just keep getting sick and making excuses.
Oh my gosh. I don't want to gross the whole World
don't.
Wide Web out by what's been happening and what's been going on. But
Yeah, nobody needs to know the details.
it's been
You're
utterly
welcome.
ridiculous. I will save it for Kate while we're having dinner later.
Great. Over dinner. Pleasant. Find it. You're supposed to be focusing.
All right. No, I found it.
Okay.
I was good. I came prepared today, bookmarks and everything.
It's like he's a Boy Scout.
So, now...
All of a sudden.
If you have heard this before, then we got to shut it down and move on to something else because it's just not going to be as fun.
Okay.
So Sesame Street recently posted a very innocent question about which Muppets the internet wants to eat most.
Eat?
Bear with me.
Okay, I have not heard this.
So Sesame Street... Oh, good.
This is the first time hearing
So
this.
Sesame Street posts, you're stuck on a deserted island, and you can pick one of these Sesame Street friends to come with you. Who are you picking and why? Very innocent, right?
Okay.
So we have some nice comments.
I see.
So Baby Lamb says, I had a hard time choosing between Elmo and Grover, but I'd have to go with Grover. That guy has just had a lot of jobs over the past 50 years, so he has a lot of expertise on how to survive on a deserted island.
That's fair because Elmo, at the same time, kind of still seems like he's in preschool.
Yeah, well, yes.
I'm with you, Baby Lamb.
So there you go. Christine Whitlock, EDM, says Oscar is tempting because his trash can would be full of useful junk to get off the island,
Possibly.
but he might not lend it to me out of spite.
Also possible.
Grover has a can-do attitude and isn't going to eat our raft like Cookie Monster would. So,
is the raft
Grover,
made of cookies?
we all know Cookie's not necessarily,
Okay.
picky.
Anyway.
All right, so then we have some other friends that went a different way. Molly Jong Fast says, is there one that tastes like chicken?
Molly.
Sarah Beatty, I believe, my apologies if it's not, who's the fattest?
I mean, probably Snuffleupagus and Big Bird. Sorry, guys.
Ray says, Cookie Monster, based solely on his caloric density, but they all look delicious. No, wait, there's more. Kellen says, I would pick Cookie Monster. He is the biggest. When I'm done eating him, I will make his bones into a boat.
That's smart.
Actually, not Hayden replies to that. Cookie Monster has bones. Kellen replies, not for long.
Poor Cookie Monster.
Mike Emus Prime says, Cookie Monster, because when the nights turn bitterly cold, I can wear his skin like a onesie. I had a hard time getting through that one.
So far, my favorite.
Feral Steve says, Cookie Monster, I'd pump his stomach for cookies, cook his meat, and make a blanket out of his fur. I'd sharpen his bones into spears that I could use for fishing, and I'd use the lenses from his eyes to start fires.
Okay, whoa. Back that train up to the very beginning. You're going to pump his stomach?
Sure.
And eat already eaten cookies? There's two things wrong with that. One, I think is pretty obvious. Two, if you've ever watched Cookie Monster eat cookies, none of them actually get through his mouth.
No, they all end up on the floor.
You're going to starve till you kill him and eat him,
So,
obviously.
our last one on Kate's note, Martian Law says, Snuffleupagus could feed an army for a year. Enough time for the island to transform into an agricultural economy.
Then you're fine. You don't have to leave.
There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm glad you hadn't seen those yet.
I do love it when society takes a turn in that way.
But yes, a perfectly innocent question. This is what happens when you put Sesame Street on HBO.
I'm telling
Just
you,
saying.
all the four-letter words. So, there's so many things
I'm
to
like,
talk
so
about.
segue from that.
Let's see. speaking of dying
Fair enough. I'm kind of...
on an island, but not on an island.
But not on an island. But
That's
speaking
how
of death...
that's how I'm connecting.
Yes.
So, I tried to give blood recently.
I thought I had told you to knock that off.
So,
It never works out well.
here's what happened.
This is what happens when you try to do a good deed.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So, they put up the posters, and I was like, that's nice. I should, but meh. And then I get the email notification that says, oh, there's only a couple of appointments left. So I think, they've got it covered. I'm good. And then I get a long text message from the American Cross, Red Cross.
Oh my.
We wouldn't be bothering you, but we really, really need blood, and we're so desperate, and blah, 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 blah,
Because
blah.
Kate does have special blood.
I do have special blood.
It's very special.
Blah, 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 people saving lives, whatever. And then it said something about a coupon for a free Del Taco shake. And I was like, okay, I'm in.
Priorities. Priorities.
You got me.
And you know what? It's better than a cookie. You know?
Right?
It's a step up. Gotta say.
Well, you would think. So I go, and now this is important to know. Just prior to this, so I at least scheduled it for after lunch. Rule number 1. I had just gone to lunch with the beef.
Oh, the beef!
Uh-huh.
I forgot about the beef.
Which he tried to road rage me, and then realized it was me, and tried to road rage me harder. It was great.
Wow.
Anyway, so we have this lunch where it's kind of animated, right? Where it's
Right.
and now this is, and then, that kind of conversation, right? Then I come back to my desk, and Chad and I walk like 100 miles to the blood bus, because we had to go like through the building and these hallways I didn't know existed, and up this little hill.
I love those kind of
I
trips
know.
when you're in the same building you've been in for
Right?
ever, and you're like, oh,
If
here's a
somebody-
new wing.
If somebody hadn't said there's a door that way, I would not have kept going.
Right.
Like 3 times, I would not have kept going. So we walk up, as we walk up to the bus, which is kind of on a little hill, I start to feel nervous, and I start
Right.
to think, oh, do I go?
As she should,
Right.
because there's been experiences.
There's been times.
They're not pretty.
So I'm like starting to get, should I? Oh. So we go in, and the girl that has organized it is there, and I know her, and she's saying, oh, good, you're here. There's all these weird reasons that people aren't able to donate blood today. She apparently had a fever, barely, but enough to not be allowed to donate blood.
What? Is
And-
it because your blood is boiling?
Mine
Oh.
often is. But,
I didn't know that was a criteria, though.
right, I didn't know that
Yeah.
either. And so she was saying, so then she was like, well, am I getting sick? And the girl, I mean, it's not like you're going to die, but you have a fever. That's important too. So I get there and I'm like, usually my iron's not high enough, so I'm going to go
This
with
is all
that.
going to be quick.
Yeah, it's no big deal. Let me skim through this literature for a minute. And never mind, we won't talk about that. Anyway, remind me about the literature later. Anyway.
Literature. Let me put it in my
So
notes.
I go in the little room, and the girl comes, and she, bless her heart, she had marbles in her mouth, I swear. And she would talk fast and low. And so it was hard to hear her. It was hard to understand a word she said. But she's going through some of the stuff and the questions and blah, blah, blah.
I'm acting, sorry, I'm just realizing I'm acting like you're going to try to crib my notes or something. And
I
I'm like,
wouldn't dream of
anyway,
it.
continue.
Anyway, so then she goes to check my pulse.
There's
And
not one.
She puts her fingers on my wrist. I'm not feeling anything at all. I make some comment about being dead inside. She's like,
no, but really.
yeah. So then she finally finds it, and she says, yeah, that's too low. Hold on. So she goes and gets another girl. And this girl seemed quite competent, just in case that was the problem, right? So she comes in and takes my pulse and gets the exact same pulse. 42, I think, 44.
I don't think that's good.
No, it's not. So the question they asked me is, do you exercise regularly? And when I finished laughing, they said, okay, that's too low then. Because I guess that's the only time you would have a resting heart rate that low is if you exercised all the time.
Oh.
So then, of course, she says to me...
It seems like it would be the opposite for that, too. Anyway, continue.
Right.
We don't know.
I don't know. All I know is she told me, it's not like you're going to die, but you can't give
That's her
blood.
answer for everything.
You're not going to die, but you can't give blood unless we call a doctor. Now, previously, she had made a comment about if your temperature is at a certain level, they cannot let you leave until you get checked out. And then if
By who?
I don't know.
Who comes?
And again, marbles, so I may have misunderstood.
Right.
But, and then I guess once you've been there and tested, for the rest of the day, you're done. Like, you can't come back later and say, okay, has my temperature gone down? So when she's telling me, your pulse is too low, we would have to call the doctor, part of me is thinking, are you telling me that I have to stay here until you call a doctor to come tell me that I'm not dying?
We don't have time for that.
And I had a doctor's appointment scheduled right after it. I was like, I'll have her call you, okay? So
she'll write a note.
Within the hour, I go to my doctor's appointment. And, oh no, let me back up, sorry.
I was going to say, heaven help me if you're still dead.
No, the other comment that she made to me was, you must just be super relaxed. I told you what led up to that moment. And I said, you know what, that's it. I just don't care. Apparently. Anyway, so I go to the doctor, not an hour later. Now, granted, I went to the wrong building, was running late, so I had to go to another building, found it. They took my pulse with the little machine thing, and 62. But two people got it at 44.
Do they not have a machine at the Bloodmobile?
They do not. And I'm going to tell you, that
Bloodmobile make all the difference.
Is looking very 1980. But it was so funny because she said of, I think, 18 or 20 people that had come in, 6 had been able to donate blood that day. And it was all weird stuff like that. And she said, because it was snowing that day, she's like, sometimes that just happens. The weather just stresses people. Like somebody's heart rate was too high, unusually, and just weird stuff like that. So I tried. And I still got my coupon for a Del Taco shake because...
That's good, because you took the time.
I made the effort.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many parameters.
There's a lot of rules. Yeah, there's a lot of rules.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, no, so speaking of, rules and whatnot, so we said I had a medical issue causing me from being here.
Let's call it that.
Let's call it that.
And let's only call it that.
Because you don't really want to know what it is. So I went in and they want, what current prescriptions are you on, blah, blah. So I write down.
You're like, can I have a couple pieces of
I know. Well, by the end. So I write down my prescriptions. And this has never happened to me before. Pretty soon it's like, well, have you been taking Advil? And I'm like, I can't remember. Yeah, I was on one or the, like Advil or Tylenol.
You need to stop taking the Advil.
So
you take it more than I do, and I am not allowed to take it anymore.
Speaking of parameters and rules. So it ended up being, well, have you taken this? Have you taken Benadryl? Have you taken... I take these things, but I felt like a drug addict by the end.
Wait, where you were at the pharmacy?
No, I was at my doctor.
Oh, well, they have to know those things because certain medications can counterbalance, even over the counter.
I guess.
So if you're taking something serious
they were trying to figure out, because what have you used to treat this? And I'm like, well, not a lot, because if you knew what happened, you'd be
just pure hate.
I know.
The hate fire.
If I hate it long enough, it will go away.
Usually it works.
Most of the time. So anyway, it was just utterly bizarre to me that they...
That's probably why, and they're probably wondering if you're taking something that's making something else not work. But I've never had that happen.
Part of it honestly had to do with an allergic reaction. So I think they were trying to...
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's leave the big point out.
So actually, though, before they even said allergic reaction, it was... And then I was like, I should write a novel.
That's probably why they were asking. They just didn't bother to tell you that until later. But that makes more sense.
So, holy good gracious. But yes, after that, I felt like
it's
a pill
good
popper.
thing you keep a list.
Well, I didn't have a list. And I just kept going. I'm like, oh, wait. Yeah, I took that last night. Because I was trying everything. I hate the doctor.
You know, sometimes that's what you have to do.
Well, and I'm always the person that goes in and, oh, you've got a virus or a cold. And then eventually I'm dying at some point because I'm convinced I have a virus or a cold. And then it's off to the hospital. Anywho.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to take a moment and not segue from that at all.
Please don't.
And give a shout out to Adam Checketts.
I don't know Adam, but hey.
You do. I think you do. Maybe this will help. Joe how do I explain this? The Hubs used to refer to him as part of Ben and Jerry.
Okay.
I don't know if he was Ben or Jerry.
I don't either, but that's fine. It gives me a reference point.
He used to work with me.
Right.
Anyway, ran into him recently fun times, and he said he actually watches the show.
Oh.
Even though he never shares it or makes any comments or anything.
So speaking of that, apparently we're supposed to have a goal. Did you know this? That we're supposed to have goals. Like we're supposed to throw out a goal. We want 10 likes this week.
We have tried this before.
That's what I thought. Because people are like,
nobody
you're not doing it right.
listens.
And I'm like, I'm pretty sure we're doing it right.
I have a goal that we're going to get actual comments on this video.
And more than one.
Do not let us down.
Please don't.
Okay?
We'll cry a little bit.
Speaking of disappointments.
All right.
Actually, I shouldn't say that because it wasn't really a disappointment, but it could have been, I guess. So, for those of you who have seen Captain Marvel...
Oh, it was not a disappointment.
It was not a disappointment.
At all.
However, prior to us seeing it, now I'm going to try not to give any spoilers.
I have a side story on this too.
I'm going to try not to spoiler, but prior to going to the movie, my sister, Liz, sorry to call you out like this, but it's kind of funny.
Oh, this story.
So she says to me, oh, have you seen it? I said, no, we're seeing it on Tuesday. She's like, oh, we saw it. It's really, really good. I said, great. And then she proceeds to tell me, now make sure that you stay until the very end. And I thought,
this ain't our first rodeo.
I've seen a lot of Marvel movies. I know what to do.
10 years worth.
Jared always looks it up. She's like, no, but there's another one after the one. Yeah, no, I know. Jared always looks it up. We know exactly how long we have to stay. Then she says to me, that part at the very, very end, oh, you're going to hate it. You're going to hate it. Jared will probably like it. You are going to hate it. And my mind is racing with all of these worst case scenarios of what horrible thing or what awkward, what?
We're
what
thinking
is it?
somebody else is going to die is basically where we had at that point.
Yeah, what horrible thing that
big.
he would like that I would hate.
Yes.
And so we're waiting. I mean, the whole movie, I'm anticipating what's going to happen at the end. We had discussed it in the car on the way over.
Oh, we had.
It was a thing.
Through the credits, that was our big thing. It
Yes,
wasn't what
we're
the
waiting.
actual scene was going to be. It was why we were going to react the way that we were going to react.
Yes. So the scene happens, and I'm not sure whether I can explain it or just let
I
it be.
can.
Well, no, I mean, I can explain it, but is that a spoiler?
No.
Okay. So then I'll tell you if it's not a spoiler.
It's not.
The very end, so there's a cat in the movie that you see in off and on, whatever. And at the very, very end, the cat is standing on a desk and doing its, hairball dry heaving thing. And I'm laughing louder than anybody in the theater. I believe I got shushed because somebody really, really wanted to hear those noises. Yeah. And then it ends, and Jared and I are like, wait, what? And
Apparently, I'm really into regurgitation. I don't know.
I said, she doesn't know either of us. Jared likes gross things. I do not. I mean, I don't, but I thought it was hysterical.
I mean, and I'm not considering it a spoiler just for this reason, because we know the thing had to go somewhere. When you see it, you'll know.
Just stop talking.
No. Let me really ruin it for you. Anyway, Captain Marvel was so wonderful that
it was wonderful.
Even my mom. This is a story my mom related to me, but I want to tell you because you'll appreciate this because of the weird one. If you don't know the weird one,
Okay.
then
You just don't.
you don't. So my parents are in the lobby and they're getting, I can't
Only take you as far
remember.
as the lobby.
Yeah, I can't remember if they were going in or coming out. I want to say out because it was a discussion about the movie after. And this one woman's, or no, it was before. I lied!
Shock me, shock me, shock me.
So they're waiting to go in, and there's this woman, and she's like talking to her other friends. Have you seen Captain Marvel yet? And they're like, oh no, we're going in to see it or whatever. So maybe they weren't even friends. Who knows? So,
all Marvel fans are friends.
right? Well, you
Ish.
would think.
Ish. We have exceptions.
So this lady's like, oh yeah, I saw it. You'll really like it. But you know, it was just kind of too comic booky.
Right. So, where to begin?
So that, and a lot of people are having problems because it's an origin story. They're like, oh, it reminds us of phase 1 of Marvel, which I like to call season. In my mind, it's all television seasons. Season 1,
But why are
season
people
2.
having a problem with this? Do they think
Well,
all
I
the
don't think
origin
it should.
stories should have
So they're
happened
like, oh,
at
it
the
just
same
felt
time?
like Iron Man and Thor and the first Captain America. Well, of course, it's the first
That's
Captain Marvel movie.
The point, people. I don't understand.
So, and contrary to what everybody's saying, we have been assured that Captain Marvel will not be in Avengers just to save the day. Avengers Endgame. It's still going to be a group
Listen,
effort, people.
Listen, I don't care if she is just there to save the day, as long as the day gets saved and I get some Marvel guys back.
I just want to see the Flurkin. That's what it was, right?
Flurkin.
Because if that movie has a Flurkin and a rocket,
Oh!
I'm
Oh! Flurkin plus rocket! Ah! Okay, I gotta calm down.
done to do. So yes.
Wow.
Anyway, sorry. Woo.
Okay,
Woo, woo, woo.
okay,
Okay, sorry. Your turn.
all right. Well, wow. So, I'm gonna tell you a little joke.
Now I want a T-shirt with a Flurkin and a rocket. Sorry. Go
Flurkin
ahead.
plus rocket equals What do you get when you cross a hippie and a redneck?
Is this a taffy joke?
No.
Oh, thank heavens.
My niece Lauren came up with this joke
Why don't I
because
know
she's
Lauren?
a genius.
You have so many.
You
so
do.
Many.
I'm sure.
No, you do. Oh, I do too, probably. Sure.
No, you do.
No,
Yes,
you
I
do.
do
You
know
have
that.
the most.
I do.
Okay,
have
what
that.
is it? A hillbilly?
A hippie and a redneck.
A hippie and a redneck. And this is only also hilarious for me because the school that I'm working at, we just recently did our showcase and I ended up being in the show and had to do bits like this. So
Should have called me.
I should have had I known.
Which reminds me, I have a story
It's
for after this.
funny because I actually thought about calling you. I don't know, Kate.
A
What do
hippie
you
and
call?
a redneck combined makes a chillbilly. I love it so much.
She should send that to the taffy people.
Right? A
They'll
chillbilly.
love it.
So, speaking of bits and I heard part of an interesting conversation today. I don't know
Because
how.
we eavesdrop like that.
Well,
beware.
Yes, and in some environments you just can't help it because
It's true,
everyone's on
because-
top of each other.
Well, and when they talk so loud.
Sometimes
anyway.
they do. I mean, I wouldn't know anything about that.
Yeah, no.
Nor would you.
Nor would I.
I mean, talk about voices that don't carry. Anyway, so they at some point their conversation turned into some fake commercial that they were jesting about creating, and so. The one talking is like, you would direct it, I would write it, and then he said, it's going to be somewhere like between, it's going to be half vaudeville, half I Love Lucy. And I was like,
It's
I
like the
kinda wanna see that.
Muppets meet I Love Lucy.
And then I thought, maybe he could be our new director. But we never had a director, we had a producer.
We had a producer. He was pretty good at directing.
He was directing as well.
He was.
But there was no vaudeville or I
slash.
Love Lucy.
No, we tried puppets.
We did try
We did
puppets.
do Stanley
Is
Walker.
that vaudeville or is that I Love Lucy? Just checking.
I don't know. But speaking of commercials,
Not
So,
scripted, kids.
Not scripted, not at all. I had to clarify to someone that I also found out was watching that yes, sometimes we make notes, but yeah.
This is not a script.
This is not a script at all. So on my YouTube feed, I must be really into the 80s or something lately. Big surprise.
Me
So,
too, actually.
Old McDonald's commercials with Ronald McDonald, like back with the clown and the people in the get-ups, like the bird costume and
Before
Grimace
it
and
came out.
well, so this is the end of the thing though, because I'm watching it and I'm like, these commercials are kind of creepy. Like,
Isn't that so funny?
there's a little boy in bed and Ronald's throwing up the window.
To sneak
Do you
in?
want some hotcakes? And I'm like, how did we think this was okay back then? That, and you got that Hamburglar stealing?
It's true what they say about hindsight. That's really funny.
But yeah, it wasn't, because I watched a few of them, and a few of them are, If I get ambitious, I'll share the links. Because you're wondering, because you watch them and you're like,
Oh, man.
was this made in jest? And then you're like, no, this was a sincere commercial, because a few of them I did remember. But
I
there were
probably
some of
would
them.
too.
I'm like, oh.
Like a little mini flashback or something. Oh, dear. Wow.
Alrighty.
Okay, well, so speaking of awkward, we use that a lot. But it's so...
We're going to put that on a t-shirt. Speaking of awkward with Jared and Kate.
Yes! Write it down. Okay.
Yes, dear.
So I also have to call out our, as far as I know, still, newest subscriber.
Kate keeps me up more on this kind
Well,
of
I was
things.
there when it happened. I made it happen. I mean, Devin, thank you for subscribing. Different Devin. Sorry,
Not the main
Devin.
Devin.
other Devin. You were not the one that I was coughing about earlier. That's Devin. You're Devin.
How many do we have?
See, when I say a name, I visualize the spelling of said name, and Devin and
Oh.
Devin both spell their names differently, so I know who I'm talking about. And not just because I know who I'm talking about.
That's
Anyway,
great.
so not only is he our newest subscriber, but under I don't know what context, he came up with the phrase, Aunt Mama's Soul Food Kitchen.
Now, that is a chain of restaurants if I ever heard one.
Make it so!
We just need Aunt Mama.
Aunt Mama. Speaking of chillbillies.
Yeah, no
Actually.
kidding.
Yeah.
So, this is my random. So speaking of followers, which makes me think of my friends on Facebook. So everybody knows that I used to have the rule of 50 or under.
Not you had to be 50 years old or under.
Yeah, 50 friends or under. That was it. If you wanted to be 51, you got put on a waiting list.
I wish he were kidding. I really do.
So, the funny part of this
And he
story
wonders
is
why we're
because
not famous yet.
I was I was up to 102.
Whoa. That's
And
more than
last
your
night
donations.
I was that's so somebody unfriended me and now I have 101 friends and I'm going to
Who?
keep it at that number.
Who unfriended you?
I have no idea. I apologize if you were so offended or felt so irrelevant in my life that you had to unfriend me.
Listen,
But-
feeling irrelevant in his life happens all the time to all of us. Don't take it personally. If I had a nickel for every time.
I love you all the same. Irrelevancy.
Irrelevancy?
Kidding. Just kidding. All
So,
right.
All right, I have a couple more things.
Okay, that's fine. No, I didn't know how long we wanted to go today.
It's okay.
It's been a
It's
month.
been a while, so I have
It's
a
been a
lot of
month.
things that have been piling up.
We can't speak.
So last month, I went to a conference in which there were two,
Oh, was this
at least two big
big
name
names? Yes.
keynote
yes,
speakers.
Yes, yes.
So the first day we go, and one of the big keynote speakers is Barack Obama,
Woo!
right? So I get there.
I mean, that's a big deal.
It is. I thought so. So we get there
Did you have
early.
to dress up for him?
Well, it's business casual,
Oh,
but
okay.
that's normal.
Right.
But there were all these, so we're standing in this long line early in the morning, and there's all these talks about you can't take your bag in. There's all these security checks. There's going to be dogs, all this stuff, right?
Wow.
And so
this is for real.
yeah, like, so I'm looking around and I'm thinking, okay, well, you're not going to get in with that bag. And I mean, what are they? I don't know. I'll just
Denied.
just kind of wondering.
Deleted, as Strongman would say.
Right, deleted. So wondering what's going to happen, right? So then this woman that works there doing security comes by and
So
says...
did you guys know he was going to be there, or was it a surprise?
Oh, no, we knew he was going to be there.
Okay.
Yeah, which is why we got there early
Right.
to get a seat. So this security woman comes by and who works there and manages these things all the time, and she says, yeah, we've got the dogs so that it'll go faster or whatever. And I was like, okay, all right, cool, all right. So we have this line, and this line, no lie, like snakes back and forth, okay?
It's like a Disneyland.
It really
or
was.
Barack.
It really was, because it went, and there were two coming. Anyway, so once they opened the doors, we knew exactly what was going to happen, and all the people that were facing that way turned around
Oh, shut up.
and went in with everybody else.
Oh.
Yeah, and you get to the doors, zero security.
Oh.
There's a guy there supposedly checking for your wristband.
No, that's what I was
Or
going
your
to say. Was he
badge.
looking for your hand stamp?
Yeah, like he was looking for badges. He didn't look at me at all. And I
That's creepy.
okay. And I was like, all right, well, that's weird, but okay, whatever. So the good news is that enough people commented about it that
Right.
they were able to fix the line situation for the next day. However, that night I had a dream. Now, what you need to know is the next day, the keynote speaker is one Oprah Winfrey. Now, I have a dream the night after the night of Barack Obama. That night I go to bed and I have a dream that I'm at the conference again, waiting to see Oprah Winfrey, and they are making you go through a metal detector. They're searching your bags. They've got, they're asking you questions. Like, it was serious. And all I could think of in this dream was, Oprah Winfrey has more security than Barack Obama? That's so weird.
But at the same time, would you be surprised?
Well,
Shut up.
show up the next day, waiting in line, as per usual, and now there are dogs. Now, it wasn't like my dream, they weren't checking bags and stuff, but they did have dogs there. And I remember thinking, Oprah Winfrey does get more security than Barack Obama. However, with this caveat, standing in line, watching the woman walk with the police dog, okay?
I'm afraid.
This woman's purse is on the floor. The dog walks over and starts sniffing it. The handler of said dog starts pulling the dog away. And I was like, wait.
We're missing the point here.
Is that not his job? No, save that meth for later. They said they would share. Like, what? She like, full, come on. So, sorry, Oprah, I guess you didn't get like that much security over,
But a little bit.
a little bit. At least the dogs were there, but not allowed to do their jobs. I don't understand.
So, speaking of dreams, I had one last night, so I'm very glad that you said this, that I was going to discuss on the show, and I totally forgot until now.
You're welcome.
Emily, what was her alter? Do we call her Anastasia Beaverhausen?
We do.
I mean, I kind of blew her cover there, but
Oops.
she doesn't mind. I'll go back into covert names for the rest of this story. So I have a dream last night that Anastasia and I are in a car, and she's dating this guy, this man friend that is not her current man friend at all.
Oh dear.
So we're in like this fancy Ford pickup, and I'm in the back seat. And
Whose
the two
fancy
of them,
Ford pickup is this?
It's the imaginary
The
man friend.
Okay.
So we're out at Jordan Landing, and there's a lane for cars to turn right. And for whatever reason, the man friend thinks that this is a traffic congestion and hops the curb.
That's what fancy pickup trucks are for.
I guess, and maybe that's why we were in the fancy pickup truck to begin with. So he realizes, though, that he's made a mistake. But, of course, the police find us and pull us over. The police are having none of the man friend's innocent story. That, look, I thought we were going around, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's a dream, so, heavy on the absurdity. So they grab the man friend
that's just a dream.
and throw him to the ground.
Oh.
And they, shackle him. And Anastasia's like, no, this is police brutality. We can't do this. No, no. And I'm like, oh. I'm just in shock to all of it, of course. I'm like, oh my goodness. And so, at one point, in fact, I think that was the point where I'm like, I've got to text Kate.
Don't drag me into this.
I'm like, I don't know why you weren't there.
Well,
yeah.
That was something I was going to save to discuss later.
So anyway, so they take the man friend off into a squad car, and Anastasia and I are talking, and of course Anastasia is really upset. Man friend has been, all he did was hop a curb. It wasn't like he drove down the sidewalk, and was taken out.
As far as we know.
So, the officer comes back to talk to Anastasia and I, and blah, 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 and Anastasia's obviously upset. I can't believe, you're taking him in for this. Isn't this just a citation? And the officer's like, Anastasia, I don't like how you're talking to me. I'm taking you in, too.
Oh, snap. Sorry, Anastasia.
So he whips Anastasia around, handcuffs her, and she's like, no, this is police brutality. This is exactly like what you were doing to my man friend. He slams her on the ground, and I heard her head hit the pavement. And then I woke up because that was too traumatizing for me. Isn't that crazy? Crazy.
I'm not sure I like that story.
I don't either, but it was traumatizing to me and so out of the blue. It was kind of like that dream I had where you jumped off out of the parking structure. I think I made an episode about that.
It's very likely. Well, okay, I'm going to bring us down from that trauma
I don't know.
with a slightly less trauma.
Okay.
I saw a headline, and you know how sometimes headlines don't quite finish the sentence?
Oh, right, because they want to trap you in.
Right. Well, this one...
I miss the days of newspapers.
Right.
They still have headlines, right?
They do, but they're all on one page. Actually, this is longer than a headline, so anyway, this is what it says, okay? It says, it's talking about twins. It was this news story. When a boy and girl are conceived together, the female twin is exposed to more male hormones in the womb than when both twins are girls.
Okay.
Obviously. This has allowed researchers to test the much debated impact of these hormones prior to birth. I didn't realize that people were fighting about this so much.
No.
They have found that there is a small but statistically significant negative impact on life outcomes from 9 months in close confinement with a boy. I know what it is. Cooties! How is this a thing?
No, how is it a thing? Because I don't understand.
That was my first thought as I read that far and it ended. And I'm like, yeah, cooties. Everybody, duh. Spend 9 months with a boy,
cooties.
You're going to get cooties. Classic.
Oh.
The much debated...
Well, no, I thought you were going to be like, they had testosterone roid rage, the girls did, or something.
No, but they did talk about how, I guess they followed sets of twins for a few decades.
Right.
And some of the girls that were twins with boys had a higher tendency to accomplish this or lower tendency to accomplish that,
right,
et cetera, et cetera. And I just
talking.
don't know.
Our chef wants to know if we want dinner.
Tell him no paella. Consider yourself texted.
Our tortillas are being warm, so we got to wrap this up.
Okay, I have one more story.
Okay. I had a side Netflix
Oh,
story
no,
to go with that.
Go ahead.
Or no, it was Hulu. There's a documentary about triplets.
Oh.
Did you see this?
No.
That were born, obviously together, and then separated at birth to perform a study.
Was it Hubs? He wants to do that.
Well, it happened.
How did they...
And so the hilarious part of this is that two of them ended up at the same college. and people were confusing them enough to the point
That
that
they
the
had to meet
one
each
was
other?
like, yeah. So, and I can't remember how they found the third one. I might have to actually watch the thing. It was enough that I saw the description of it that I looked up an article about it, but yeah,
Send me the title. I want to watch it.
to do. Yeah, it happened back, in the 60s, 50s,
When they were
when
allowed to do that kind of stuff.
nobody paid attention.
No, you just had
Three
one.
babies, just one.
You just had one baby. You must have had flashbacks 2 times.
Yes. So, but they met and they're all together now, I guess. But
I-
how bitter would you be?
I mean, I would be bitter, but at the same time, I would be very interested to see what commonalities we did have.
Yeah.
If you're my twin or
Yeah.
triplet, please find me.
Well, and
But don't tell anybody.
Because I was born at Cottonwood Hospital. I can say this now; it's out of business.
And that's why.
Babies were stolen the year I was born.
Right.
So I often wonder, do I have a twin? My mom always says she carried big, and
Well, that's 'cause
there
of
was
that
just
big head
one
of
baby.
yours.
I know, right?
Your poor mother. Speaking of mothers,
C-section. Because of the big head.
anyway, speaking of mothers. So I went to a wedding this past weekend. You know Ingrid.
I do know Ingrid. Did she get married?
She got married.
Oh, good for her.
So I'm at her wedding, and I'm sitting between Hubs and Beverly.
I wasn't invited. Just kidding.
Awkward.
It's not like we didn't fly on the plane together, Ingrid.
Like you barely showed up to my wedding.
Continue.
Anyway, Hubs, me, Beverly. Beverly's Franck.
Oh, Franck.
Franck. Okay, so we're sitting there, and we're kind of chatting. The ceremony has begun, and I look down, and I see this woman and 2 adults with her. She's older than the 2 adults, but they're young adults, right?
Right.
And I'm looking at her, and I'm thinking, wait a second. I look at her again, and I think she's my cousin. So I full on.
I was really worried the story was going to be, I think she's my mother.
No, but that will come up. So I lean over to Beverly and I say, I think that's my cousin at the end of this row. So we're on the same row. So then at one point, because the rows kind of curve a little bit, right? So she's talking to her people and I'm talking to my people and we're facing each other. We make some
Pretty
pretty consistent eye contact, but neither of us show any signs of recognition.
Right.
So then I say to Beverly, well, we just made eye contact and she didn't make like she recognized me, but I'm still pretty sure that's my cousin. I think that eventually she's going to realize that I look just like my mother and then she'll do the math. And then okay. So then fast forward just a few more minutes. The ceremony's over. People are milling about. And finally, she and I make eye contact where she's like, mm-mm-mm. So I walk over. Come to find out, they were having the exact same conversation on that end of the row. She says to
Speaking of what relatives do and what manifests.
Right. She turns to her son and daughter-in-law and says, I think that's my freaking cousin. And they're like, okay. And so then we make the eye contact and she says to them, well, we just made eye contact, but she didn't make like she recognized me. And then a little while later, she looks just like her mother. It has to be her. So then we were joking about if somebody were sitting in the center enough to have heard both sides,
It would
how
have been
entertaining
hilarious.
that would have been. Yeah,
I'll
but
say.
what are the chances?
Well, it's better than me. My cousin walks by and says hello, and I just keep walking. And I didn't even, in my defense, I didn't even realize anybody had said hello to me.
Well, there's that. Oh, that does remind me of another story, but we should probably tell it another time.
Yes, because our food will be ready shortly.
Yes, and it's not paella.
Thank the maker.
The non-paella.
All right, so until next time, I'm Jared.
I'm Kate.
Bye.